For centuries, humans and trolls shared the land in peace. But everything changed when Christianity spread across Europe. The new faith rejected the old legends, and King Olaf of Norway ordered his soldiers to drag trolls from their caves and into the sunlight, turning them to stone. His men swept through the country, hunting down every troll they could find, and soon the creatures learned to fear anything tied to Christianity, especially the ringing of church bells. After the massacre, trolls vanished completely from human sight. This grim tale became a bedtime story told to a young girl by her father, sparking her lifelong fascination with ancient creatures and leading her to become a paleontologist. 30 years later, in the remote Jotunheimen Mountains, a mysterious man steps into a quiet cabin. Before he can look around, he's ambushed by Nora, who tackles him and nearly stabs him. She freezes just in time, realizing the intruder is actually her colleague, Andreas. He notices her table covered in books about old myths and legends, but she dodges his questions about her research. Andreas explains that he needs her expertise again. 3 years earlier, Nora's knowledge helped the military defeat a massive troll hidden in the mountains. She even served on the official troll commission until she walked away after realizing the new government was just as corrupt as the old one. Now she's not even allowed near the palace thanks to a restraining order. While looking through her things, Andreas finds his own book, and Nora thanks him for dedicating it to her father, who died in the last troll incident. Andreas tells her that her father would have wanted her to see what he's discovered. That finally convinces her to go. During the helicopter ride, Andreas hands her a confidentiality agreement. Instead of signing her real name, Nora jokingly writes Tiny Trolley Molly. They land at the Merc Power Station, where Professors Mueller and Wangle, veterans of the previous troll crisis, are waiting. The professors lead Nora deep into a tunnel, while explaining the truth behind certain World War II sabotage missions. The official story claimed they were racing to build the first atomic bomb, but that was just a convenient cover. The real secret was hidden much deeper. At the end of the tunnel, Nora finally sees it with her own eyes, a colossal troll still alive. Inside the facility, teams of scientists study the captured troll while powerful UV lamps glow around him as a safety barrier. Project leader and evolutionary biologist, Marion introduces herself to Nora, admitting she had hoped Nora wouldn't get dragged back into troll business. Andreas quickly explains that the research had stalled and was on the brink of being shut down, so he had no choice but to call in the one person who truly understands these creatures. Marion goes over the current findings. The troll appears to be in a deep hibernation state. His pulse is faint but steady, and strangely, his DNA shares more in common with plants than with humans. Andreas then guides Nora to a nearby office where Siegfried is waiting. She was part of their previous troll adventure as well, and now she and Andreas are together with a baby on the way. Around them are thousands of ancient documents about trolls, including the original troll law written by King Olaf in 1030. A crucial section of the text is missing, but what remains suggests that Olaf intended to banish trolls entirely. The team fears that other trolls may still be hidden across the country, and if a new threat emerges, they want to be prepared. That's why they need Nora's expertise. Feeling conflicted, Nora excuses herself by saying she needs the bathroom. Instead, she quietly returns to the containment chamber. She takes the elevator up to the highest platform, reaches out, and touches the troll's nose while humming softly, just like her father once taught her. Nothing seems to happen and she prepares to leave. But then the vitals monitor spikes. The troll opens his eyes. Chaos erupts as the massive creature shifts and strains against the chains holding him down. Mueller orders the guards to activate the UV lights, but Marion refuses to let them kill the troll. She dumps a cup of coffee onto the control panel, causing a short circuit and shutting the system down. As Nora tries to escape, the troll breaks free of his restraints. He swings one enormous arm, smashing the elevator and sending the cabin dropping and skidding across the floor. Nora clings on and survives long enough for Andreas to pry the door open and pull her out. In the chaos, Mueller spots a loose troll sample rolling across the floor. He grabs it and flees. Behind him, the troll is already rampaging through the lab, and with a single step, he crushes Wangle, killing him instantly. Andreas and Nora join Siegfried and Marion as they sprint up the stairs, heading for the emergency exit. Just as they reach the top, a tune smashes through the building in a display of raw power. For a brief moment, he locks eyes with the group before turning and walking away, leaving destruction in his wake. Moments later, a helicopter arrives to evacuate the team to an Air Force base in Raj. There, they meet an old ally from their previous adventure, Kris, who has now been promoted to Major. While waiting in a conference room, Nora confronts Marion, arguing that she should have done more to protect the troll. Their discussion is cut short by the arrival of Prime Minister Wilmann, who admits he always thought the project was too dangerous. Marion still insists on capturing the troll for research, while Nora counters that no one can control the forces of nature. Wilmann, though tempted to continue the experiments, prioritizes the safety of his people and orders the military to eliminate the troll. Nora loses her temper, reminding him that the last time the military attacked an innocent troll, lives were lost. Wilmann solemnly reveals that he lost his brother in that very incident and refuses to repeat the same mistake. After the meeting, Andreas notices Nora clutching a piece of stone, the last remnant of the troll they had previously killed. She keeps it as a reminder of her mistakes. Andreas admits he carries a similar token, reminding her that people grow from errors, learning so they can keep fighting. Inspired, Nora drags Andreas to meet Kris and his team. Kris lays out the military's plan to confront the troll, giving instructions for the operation. Nora insists on joining, but Kris initially refuses. She changes his mind by invoking the memory of her father, who died during the previous troll attack. Marion also joins the team, and Kris shows them that the military's helicopters have been outfitted with UV lights specifically for troll hunting. Meanwhile, far away in the ski resort town of Buskaroo, people are enjoying drinks and dancing. Suddenly, the building trembles violently. The disco ball crashes down onto the dance floor, and a low growl echoes through the crowd. Before anyone can react, the troll tears through the ceiling, peering menacingly into the room. Guests at the ski resort pull out their phones and start snapping pictures, until Yun lets out a deafening roar and thrusts his massive hand inside the building. Panic erupts. People scramble, pushing and shoving, and parts of the structure begin collapsing. Yun continues reaching in, grabbing as many people as he can, devouring them whole without a single bite. Soon, the military helicopters arrive, UV lights blazing. Flying close to the troll, they scorch multiple spots on his massive body, managing to land 2 successful strikes. But Yun retaliates, hurling an electric pole at the helicopters. One chopper is severely damaged. Kris checks on his co-pilot, who tells him it was an honor fighting alongside him. Moments later, the chopper crashes in a massive explosion, killing everyone aboard. Kris seethes with fury and thirsts for revenge, but his own helicopter has sustained damage. Nora warns him not to make any reckless moves. As Kris glares at his enormous adversary, Yun suddenly turns and retreats, leaving devastation behind. Kris approaches the crash site to mourn his fallen friend. Marion is shocked by the troll's ferocity, but Nora explains that the previous troll they faced wasn't like this. It only wanted to return home. She believes their aggression stems from centuries of human mistreatment. Andreas wonders if communication is possible, and Nora mentions that she knows someone who might be able to help. Meanwhile, in Leia, a man who had lost his house in the last attack finally finishes repairing it. His dog barks wildly as the table shakes, and before he can react, Yun returns, stepping on the house and destroying it again. In the Door Mountains, the team arrives at a restricted military area. They squeeze through a broken section of fence and enter an old cave. Andreas notices a sticky residue on the walls, and Nora explains its purpose. This was a hunting pit used to trap the Troll King. The humans had kidnapped his child and hidden it there, intending to lure him to his death. Christian symbols were carved into the rocks to amplify the damage. Nora reveals that the Troll King survived the trap. He is, in fact, the same troll they fought 3 years ago. However, the remains of his child were never found. When the group finally reaches a pit, Nora taps the Troll King's stone on the ground and warns everyone to stay calm. Suddenly, a troll emerges from the shadows in front of the group. Nora instantly recognizes him, the child from the old story. She explains that over the past 3 years, she's visited this cave frequently so that the troll could grow comfortable around her. Gently, she presents him with his father's stone. The troll sniffs it carefully and Nora pets his nose. When she hums a soft tune, the creature responds with small, happy noises, clearly enjoying the interaction. Andreas watches in awe and curiosity. Nora teaches him how to do the same. He places his hand on the troll's nose and hums, eliciting a delighted reaction. Since the troll has no name, Nora affectionately calls him Beautiful. Growing serious, she asks Beautiful for a favor. Meanwhile, in Boverdon, Nora notices the other massive troll approaching. She fires a flare gun into the air to signal the group. Beautiful rises from the snow, and the two trolls begin growling at each other, tension crackling between them. Andreas instinctively wants to open fire, but Marion intervenes, stopping him. As Beautiful roars, the other troll violently stomps the ground, cracking the ice beneath them. Nora dashes across the frozen surface but slips and falls. Kris rushes to help her. Tragically, Beautiful doesn't react in time and plunges into the freezing water, struggling to stay afloat before finally sinking beneath the ice. The hostile troll charges the group, forcing everyone to sprint for the helicopter. As they lift off, the massive creature attempts to knock the aircraft down, but the team maneuvers just in time and escapes. Nora breaks down, staring at the hole in the ice where Beautiful disappeared. At an air ambulance base, Nora recounts to Marion how Beautiful had once been brought out of the cave safely. He hadn't tried to destroy anything. He simply sat quietly, gazing at the stars, before returning to the cave where he felt secure. The team examines a map tracking the troll's movements. Marion realizes the path follows the old pilgrim's route, heading north toward Nidaro. Nora checks her notes and recalls her father's stories. Nidaros had been the capital back then, ruled by King Olaf. The implication is clear. This journey is one of revenge. Determined to learn more, they fly to Trondheim to meet Esther, an old friend of Nora's father. She shows them the Nidaro Cathedral, a monumental structure built between 1070 and 1300, later renamed the Heart of Norway. In this region, the church once ruled the country with absolute authority. As they enter the sacred space, Kris leaves his weapons at the entrance out of respect. Nora explains that they are searching for King Olaf's tomb, and Esther guides them through an underground tunnel. She wonders why the church targeted Olaf, who was supposedly an important figure, speculating that there must have been some conflict. They enter an empty chamber, and Esther notes that countless people have tried to locate the tomb over the years, all without success. Marion notices notices the same symbol that had appeared in the cave, prompting the group to begin a careful search. On the wall, they discover a mural of Olaf. When Andreas touches it, a small fragment falls, leaving a hole in the king's stomach. Esther recalls that during Olaf's final battle, he was wounded in his belly, thigh, and neck. She touches these spots on the mural, and pieces of the wall loosen to reveal hidden cavities. Nora inserts torches into the holes and begins turning them. Mechanical sounds echo from within the wall. When all 3 torches are properly aligned, a secret door slides open. Andreas helps Nora push it aside, revealing a chamber on the other side. At its center lies Olaf's tomb, resting in the middle of a still pond. Nora insists on opening the coffin. Esther hesitates, worried it would be disrespectful, but Nora reminds her that this is an emergency. Together they lift the heavy lid. Inside lies Olaf's skeleton, clutching a silver sword. Its metal remains untarnished, though it is no longer a functional weapon. In one of Olaf's pockets, they find the missing fragment of the troll law. The group exits the chamber and sends a photo of the document to Sigfrid, who assembles it with the half already held at the institute. Finally, they can read the complete text, and it reveals that Olaf had opposed the expulsion of trolls from the country. The church had killed him to continue the massacre. But the trolls' vendetta is not against Olaf, it is against humanity itself. Meanwhile, videos of the resort attack and the man's destroyed house have gone viral, spreading across media worldwide. Governments in other countries grow concerned about what the troll might do next and issue warnings of possible intervention. At a press conference, Prime Minister Brinchman announces that all civilians along the Pilgrim's route are being evacuated. However, when a reporter asks how he plans to stop the troll, he has no answer. Kris receives a call to return to base, but he ignores it, choosing to stay with his friends so they can face the threat together. The group debates what Olaf used in the past to fight trolls. Silver alone clearly isn't enough. Nora recalls the pond and dips a knife into holy water, touching it to the troll king stone. The stone immediately cracks in half, confirming that trolls are vulnerable to holy water. With this knowledge, Kris and Marion run to coordinate with the evacuees, rallying the crowd to defend their country. The people cheer, ready to help. Meanwhile, Esther instructs Andreas on how to ring the church bells, while a line of soldiers forms from the pond to military trucks, transporting buckets of holy water to refill their weapons. As evening falls, Yoon finally appears, demolishing several buildings in his path. As he approaches the church, Esther and Andreas begin ringing the bells. The sound is deafening, slowing him and making his ears throb. Soldiers fire their holy water weapons, striking multiple spots on his massive body and gradually weakening him. Enraged, Yoon lashes out, uprooting a tree and smashing it into the church, destroying the bells. Esther and Andreas barely escape unharmed. The soldiers continue shooting, but the holy water alone isn't enough to stop him completely. Kris detonates a line of explosives laid across the ground. The burns are severe, scorching the troll's massive form. But even after the explosions, Yoon remains alive and continues his relentless advance. The group runs as Yoon charges toward them, only for him to suddenly stop when a powerful roar echoes across the river. To everyone's shock, Beautiful resurfaces alive and ready for battle. Both trolls wade into the rushing water and collide with tremendous force. Yoon delivers a brutal blow and hurls Beautiful onto a nearby bridge, shattering the structure and sending the young troll crashing back into the river. Nora is frantic, desperate to help her friend but completely out of options. That's when Marion recalls a crucial detail. Yoon still has a pulse. If they can attack him from the inside, the holy water might destroy his heart. But they only have one bomb left, meaning this has to be precise and dangerous. As Yoon pummels Beautiful and rips apart nearby debris to use as makeshift weapons, Kris and Andreas race into the helicopter while Nora and Marion run ahead, opening fire. Their shots barely injure the giant, but they do manage to pull his attention away, though Beautiful remains trapped beneath his enormous foot. Kris swings the chopper around Yoon for a better angle, but the sudden turn sends the bomb sliding out of place. Andreas dives for it, grabbing the device just in time, only for the detonator to tumble out and smash on the street below. Now they have a bomb with no trigger. The only way to set it off is manually, with a grenade, which means someone will have to go down with it. Andreas knows what he must do, so he calls Sigrid to say a final goodbye, although the connection ends before they're done. At that moment, Beautiful passes out and the women run out of ammo. Marion runs, but Nora refuses to give up. Then the helicopter finally reaches Yoon's head and Andreas jumps. Out with the grenade and the bomb, Yoon swallows everything and the grenade explodes, sending holy water through the troll's whole body. His hard skin starts to burn and the pain weakens him enough for a recovering Beautiful to reach into his chest and rip his heart out. Yoon's body falls as it disintegrates in the river. Sometime later, the church is being repaired, and Esther opens an exhibition to teach the real story of Olaf. Sigrid has the baby and Kris becomes a fun uncle. Beautiful is now allowed to roam in the mountains and visits Nora's cabin regularly. In the meantime, Muller has been working on the sample he stole. It's now grown into a mini troll. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.